Ladies and gentlemen, we have another Detroit bass player in the house with us, and her name is Miss Emily Rogers. Yeah. And assisting with the interview, in case they want to chime in, is Mr. Reginald Cathy, who's the owner of the BASSmint. That's BASSmint.
No more mortgage payments, baby.
Oh, he actually really owns it.
Yeah.
And we also have in the house with us
Gwyneth Hayes.
And we also have with us
Lester Collins.
And also we have
Pope Nodic.
and we also have
Rory Travantelli.
And also in the house is
Parker Klein.
And we
Michael Rich.
Finally, the bass pimp is back in Inkster.
We also have baby brother Bob. Some of these guys change their name every single time.
Why you get the camera in my face?
Okay, now I normally like to start off asking other questions, but the first question I gotta ask you is, what in the heck is that you got in your hand?
Oh, a bass.
I know it's a bass, but what you got? What's all of that?
Well, I won a contest for a crazy bass on Facebook, and it was designed by a company called Ansar Music, ANSIR Music. They are the ones that put the contest on Facebook. And it went on for quite some time, I want to say months, and I thought I lost a bunch of times, and then it turns out I actually won. But I didn't just win a bass, I won to design my own bass. And let me tell you, when I found that out, I did not call those people back for a month. It was like getting a tattoo. I'm like, what do I... It would have been easier, I guess, if they had just said, here's your bass.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So... yeah, no, it was an incredible honor, and I thank Ansar Music a lot, and they did a hell of a job. And so I actually went through a closeness in my relationship with the bass in doing this build.
Right.
You know, just from a different understanding of what goes into actually constructing the instrument, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, my relationship with my instrument increased in that process.
Okay, so what is this rendition of?
Well, in thinking about it, I was like, I want something that really represents me. And I came up with a ton of ideas, but all of them would have taken special cases. And I mean, this is actually the least elaborate thing that I thought of. And so, being a nature spirit in and of myself, I think that this was the closest thing I could get that really represented me all the way around. So I gave them a picture of a leaf and said, I want a leaf. And at first they were like, maybe we should have just given you a bass. And then they got into the build too, and it did just an incredible job, if you will. It's made out of, get out of the strap. It's made out of a ton of different woods. I want to say 4.
Mm-hmm.
It weighs, I want to say a good 15 pounds.
It's heavy, huh?
It is heavy. But when they asked me, I mean, part of the process in the build was, what is the sound that I'm looking for? And they don't use any active pickups, because that's the first thing, I have a bass. Had a couple of amazing basses, but all of them had active pickups, and so the first thing I asked about was, okay, what kind of pickups? Do you guys have a recommendation? They said, oh, no. We could stick pickups on a piece of plywood and show you that it would sound good. All the tone that you're going to get out of your instrument is going to come from the wood itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was amazing. And let me tell you, I mean, I had to really relearn how to play this instrument because it's a lot thicker around the back here.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a thumb rest. Like when I first picked it up, it was very foreign to me, and I've really grown to love this instrument and the tones that I've been getting out of it, and it's made me really focus and hone in on tone and play slower and really see how much you can get out of a note.
Much different than your Ibanez.
I do love my Ibanez. My Ibanez, going from this to the Ibanez, I'm faster, but it's, this is definitely a workout.
Okay.
It has taken me months. It took me a couple months to actually be able to play this at a gig, because taken so much finger strength,
Right.
and my grip is so much
Gotta
different.
change,
yeah,
yeah.
I've had to change a little bit, a couple of things. But the sound, I love the sound of this. But my Ibanez, I love my Ibanez too. Yeah.
What kind of strings you got on there? 'Cause
These are DR strings.
They like look like they the color black.
They are black strings, and actually I went to NAMM this past January, and they sponsored me and gave me a couple of other strings, the fluorescent green ones. I've just put on a 5-string that I have. They look fantastic on this against the screen. But yeah, these are DR strings, and I actually had a show, and I had a really amazing music director, and she really whipped all of us into shape, and I still actually have musical lashings from this particular experience.
Was that from Black Girls Rock?
It was, and let me tell you, hats off to Norma Jean Bell. She is amazing. And, you know, she really, at first she was like, why do you have these strings on? Change your strings. It sounds like crap. And so I'm like, these people just built me, I mean, thousands of dollars worth of bass. I don't think they would stick crap, but at the end of the day, I never really asked. I liked the sound of them. So then, upon that, I had to do a little bit more research on the strings, because I have to come back and say why I have these strings on my bass now. Do you know what I'm saying? And so in researching DR and asking answer why they chose these strings, partly it was for aesthetic reasons, but it's also because when they asked me about what tone I like, I told them I like darker. And so I like dark and meaty. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like the higher, tintier bass. I think some of the players that use that are amazing players, but the actual tone of the instrument, I think it sounds like it's not for me.
Sounds like a typewriter.
Or, you know, a guitar at the end of the day, you know, like, so I like thick, really, really thick, grungy, meaty bass, and that's hence why this is so heavy, because I told them what I wanted, and they asked me to send 10 songs to where I like the bass, the sound of the bass in it, not necessarily playing, but just the sound of the bass. And so yeah, I really do the darker and the meatier, the better for me.
Yeah, I actually saw that bass on that picture all of you guys took in front of Hitsville, the Motown Museum. I saw you in that picture. I saw Reggie Canty in that picture.
Pope was there?
I saw him in that
bass in there.
Picture. Yeah, he got his bass right there. The Pope sickle, right?
Yes, sir. Pope style.
Who else was in that picture?
The bass.
You were in the picture? You weren't in it? Were you in it?
Yep. Oh, of course. He was standing next to me.
Were you in there?
No, I stayed around when you got there.
I got there late. It was like you and me.
Did y'all take a picture?
Yeah, didn't we? We still took a picture.
Mike Frederick.
Yep.
Y'all still took a picture, Annie?
We tried to take one or two.
That's pretty cool. I wish I could have made it. I really do wish I could have made it.
Oh, that one of Carrie's friend's granddaughter.
Okay, well, hold on a second. So, what? Oklahoma?
I know they said they drove 6 hours to get here.
She can play, man.
Oh, you talking about the pink bass girl?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I was kind of jealous because I couldn't make that picture with all you guys. So, but I have all you guys here, and I'm trying to interview everybody that was in that picture. So if you were in that picture, give me a call so we can do these interviews, because I just want to interview everybody. And the first question I usually ask, I had to talk about your bass first.
I'm so glad you did. Her name is Biophilia.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. And if you are interested, Ansar makes incredible instruments. So if you don't mind, I would like to give them a plug, because they did an outstanding job on this. Again, it's ANSIR Music, and you can check out their website. It stands for Angular String Instruments, and basically they have designed. They noticed, the owner Jody noticed that when most guitars and basses are played, the neck goes like this. They have created a neck that will sit in the playing position, whether it's on a strap or in your lap, you know, or whatnot. So
I actually seen one of the guitars with this other bass player. Her name is Millie She gets endorsed by Millie something. She played.
She from here?
Nah,
A younger girl?
Yeah, that was getting down on that bass. She bad.
Yes, I met her actually at Nashville, ma'am.
Right, that's
where
where
they
she lives.
presented this to me a year ago.
Right, she's bad. I got one of her videos posted up. But how long have you been playing the bass? When did you start playing the bass?
Actually, my first instrument is oboe, believe it or not, and I went from that to drums, and I loved drums, I really did, and still do. And I worked at Guitar Center.
Which one?
At the one in Southfield.
Okay.
In the drum room with Dave Borboy. I'm sure many of you know Dave Borboy. And I bought this bass for $85 from one of the cats who worked in the drum room with me, and I bought it so that when people came to my house, they could jam with me while I played the drums. There was no excuses, so I could get better. Well, I had this party and invited a bunch of musicians over a jam party, and all the drums, everybody that came over was amazing drummers and amazing guitar players. So all the drum instruments were taken, from the congas, the drum kit. I mean, because at this point I'm at ping, poom, pat, you know what I'm saying? Maybe a little bit past that, but everybody was like sweet drummers, you know? And then, so I picked this bass up off the wall, and whatever jam they were in, they had to have been in E, because I remember I didn't probably move off the E string. But being that, you know, coming from drums and even before drums, I mean, I wanted to be a dancer. I really come from dance. So rhythmically, I could hang on this E string, and then I probably pushed an A and a B and found that it went, you know. So I think from then on, as a writer, because I'm really more of a songwriter, I would say, than a player. You know, when I pick up any instrument, I generally, instead of practicing to get sweeter, I'll write a song with it. So yeah, I started writing bass lines, and this band that I put together, the bass player would come over and I'd be like, okay, this is the bass line, and then I'd go try to play the drums to it. Well, that bass player got so sick of me doing that they're like, why don't you just play bass and quit the band?
So that's cool.
So in essence, it was kind of a smooth transition that I didn't even pay attention to. It was just easier to write melody and rhythm from a bass than it was from a drum kit. You know, so I fell in love with that aspect of it. And so this bass, you know, when I first started playing, I didn't know it was an $85 bass. Well, the strings were so far away from the neck that I could have used it as a bow and arrow. No lie. So I go and I'm ready to buy my first bass, and I get to this bass convention or whatever, and I pick up, I think the first one I fell in love with was an ESP. It was this metal, because I was into metal and hard rock or whatever. It was this metal ESP, and I fell in love with it. And I could fly down it because my fingers had built up so much strength from pushing these other ones down. It was like, it's like playing on a pillow with drumsticks and then getting to a snare, and the sticks actually bounce. So, yeah, I bought that ESP, and then I actually found an American-made Hamer. I missed this bass. It was stolen from me. And it was ugly to me. It looked like a big, ugly Cadillac. But when I plugged it in and played it, the sound of it was so amazing. I actually traded my djembe and spent another $400 on this Hamer. And from then on, I really started wanting to be better at the songs that I wrote. Not necessarily the best. I didn't ever want to be like a virtuoso player, and you know, so but better as a songwriter.
Okay, so how long you say you've been playing the bass then?
I want to say probably 12 years.
Okay, that's pretty.
I mean, yeah, no, it's definitely been a minute.
Okay, that's good. So since you started playing this bass and you loving it and all that kind of stuff, do you have any influences on the bass guitar? Anybody influence, or you got some favorite basses? Or?
Absolutely. Some of them are right here in the Detroit city.
Rip off a few names. Right,
well, to be honest, like when I first started picking up the bass, I had, so, you know, just from going and dancing to all these bands like Jazz Head, Soul Click, Enemy Squad. I mean, this is before I ever picked up a bass. I would go dance to Blackman and Arnold, and you know. The musicianship and the caliber, I mean, I'm so honored to have cut my teeth here, and these cats would come over and, you know, jam with me, and helped me to grow as an artist and a musician. And so I would have to give those people props for...
Throw some names out there. Who's some of
Okay.
these bass players?
James Simonson,
Okay.
Monte Jassy,
Mm-hmm.
Kern Brantley,
Mm-hmm.
William Pope, Tony Green.
T Green.
T Green, yeah.
T Money Green.
T Money Green. Actually, I gotta, you know, meeting him. I had just finished my first album with my band, Rib, that I put together, and I was so excited. This is actually a funny story. I get over to Gabe Gonzalez because Gabe Gonzalez would come and jam with me on drums and help me get better on bass. And always invite me to something funky. He was always pulling me in to get me better, you know, because some people, you know, there was never any, it was always trying, you know, come out, come jam, come get better. So I go to his studio and I'm really excited. I got my new album. And I see Tony Green sitting on the couch. He's playing this bass upside down and he is wailing, and I think to myself, what am I trying to do with my life? Because he's bad as hell. And so I was like, how long have you been playing? He was like, 32 years. And I was like, oh, well, shit. In 32 years, I'm going to be that sweet. Well, let me just keep at it. And I ended up playing my album that day, and they sat and listened to the whole thing and loved it. And so, yeah, Tony Green has been one of my supporters now for a long time, and you know,
another Detroit bass player.
Another amazing Detroit bass player. So
and who else?
Yeah, you know, outside of Detroit, I mean, I definitely love Tony Levin. I love Flea, Les Claypool, Bernie Worrell. I know he's not a bass player, but he has created some of the funkiest bass lines I've ever heard in my life. Brucey Collins. I like bands like Osric Tentacles. I like a lot of the bass work and the tone of the bass in the music there. Let me think.
Any lady basses ever inspire you, or?
Oh, all the time. I mean, every time I see, I want to say, honest to God, every woman that I see play an instrument is inspiring because, I mean, supposedly, you know, we've been trained that it's a man's world, and I can't tell you, I've experienced it as an artist, you know, the lack of respect as a woman sometimes. No lie. I mean, what you said. For real. So any woman that has because I know that they go through everything from as simple, and you know, it's simple and it means no harm, but it shows the mentality of us as people, you know, to say I play bass, you play bass. Now, if any one of you dudes say that, they're like, oh, okay, cool. Just something that simple shows how people think, and so everything from that to like, you know, the lack of respect until after you get off stage. It's a whole different story after you know, when you really do it, you know. Yeah, so.
You know, you might want to reach out to the BRC.
What's that?
The Black Rock Coalition. Brother Reed and all those guys run it. Well, Pope knows something about it. They gravitate to female musicians because all the stereotypes and stuff like that. So it's a great organization. You just pull up brc.com. Okay. You go right to their website. I mean, Living Color, Bad Brains, 24/7 Spies, all them bands. Nice. On that.
Well, and it's a whole other thing to be of any ethnicity and try to get into rock or play an instrument. I mean, you know.
We definitely know that.
I mean, for sure.
You don't know how many times we've walked in and they said, so,
what kind of music y'all play?
Hip hop?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then when we get through doing Kashmir, they're like, what that? F&A, man, what that?
Thank you.
Like, dude,
you know,
come on, man. That's
funny
what,
part.
We can't play rock?
The funny part is, I mean, well, we had to leave. Well, I was in Enemy Squad with Gabe for years before we started Brothers from Another Planet. But even Gabe could tell you, we'll go into clubs and they go, oh, you're gonna play Boys II Men or whatever. Yeah. So it waited until Vernon Reed came in and saw us play. Vernon Reed goes, hey man, where you guys from? Detroit. So after that, Vernon took us in. And we started playing all over the place.
And Vernon is from the group.
Right. And so then that's when we got 24/7 Spies. Yeah, 24/7 Spies and Fishbone and Bad Brains. We started running these cats. And so they started telling their stories to us. And it was just a mirror of what we were doing. I'm like, oh, I thought we were the only one going through it. Oh, no. They were going through it. And there was a lot of women, Michelle and Shallow, all these different...
Absolutely. She's one of my favorites.
Yeah. And so they were going, we started meeting them, same situation. So, I mean, you know... It'd be great for them.
Yeah.
So that's the only one. What was the lady's name?
Forgive me that, because I can't. I'll be saying.
I can't say her name right either.
Michelle Indigadeo Cello is how I say it. I'm sure that's not how it's pronounced. But yeah, she's absolutely one of my favorite songwriters and bass players. I like Esmeralda Spalding. I like Gwyneth Hayes. I like what's my girl's name that just Divinity Rocks. I had the honor of being on stage with her, and she absolutely inspired me to go home and practice. I mean, that girl tore it down, and her songwriting is so awesome. You know, because at the end of the day, I love, you know, that you can play, you know, but I do like a good song. And there is something to be said for taking the time to rehearse a song, and there's a whole different vibe on a jam session. I think jam sessions are cool, but I do like time and energy put into knowing little nuances that make a song sweet. That's my passion.
Okay. And speaking of your passion and the music and stuff, you are actually one of our fine Detroit bass players who are nominated for a Detroit Music Award.
It's an honor. It really is. It's kind of a double-edged sword, though. You know what I'm saying?
Explain.
Explain? I mean, let me just say that it is a beautiful honor to be, to have cut my teeth here, and I know that anywhere else in the world you could stick any other city in the ring with a Detroit artist, and I would put my money on the Detroit artist for just hands down bad.
Yeah,
so at the end of the day, the double-edged sword is that to be, like, if you put me in a ring with, you know, Kern Brantley, I mean, I'm just going to set my bass down, really. So, you know.
Me too.
You know, exactly. So, you know, it's an honor to be recognized for what I do as an instrumentalist and that kind of deal, but I would like, there's many others that I would like to see nominated.
Okay, well, what is the category that you're nominated for? In case we
pop rock instrumentalist.
So in case we want to go vote and stuff, because I'm gonna throw yours.
But I would say that.
Well, congratulations on your win.
Right.
No, I'm actually in a category with some fine artists. I want to say Gabe is nominated in that same, and Skeeto Valdez. I mean, I'm just saying. So. I would advocate that everybody get involved in the Detroit Music Awards so that people know who you are, and so that there is, you know, a well-rounded bunch and circle of musicians. It's not just one clique or this clique or that clique. It's an all-around, you know, representation of Detroit musicians, you know.
Okay.
It used to be the other way around, like about the cliques. Used to be that way around when the early days when me and Pope and we are Brothers from Another Planet, we never nominated for best rock band because we were all black. But they voted us.
I don't think that.
No, that was what I'm talking about. This is like mid-90s.
Yeah.
And so we got nominated. We won the award for best rap group. Yeah. So that's what I'm sorry. They gave us
wouldn't put them in the rock group category.
They
put them as best rap group.
Yeah.
And you think that it was because they were black? Because I would like to think in 90s, by that time, those stereotypes.
Did you guys do any rap?
1990s.
It was still you would get. So you all are playing funk rock, huh?
It just wasn't rock. And it was kind of a musical apartheid here in Detroit at that time, because we did a big thing with Riff, Steve Black and all of us. We had a big, like a thing here with musicians. We talked about the apartheid kind of thing with the women of music, the ethnicity in music, even the young cats in music, because a lot of the old cats were blocking the younger cats. But now it's totally changed. It's a lot cooler than it used to be.
It's a totally lot cooler. I want to say that
it's a whole lot different.
And we're in an era where technology is making it possible to break down the barriers and bring people from different social circles, genres, age groups, and, you know, it's not over there anymore. Over there is just on the internet at this point. Like, I can talk to somebody in China about playing bass, you know, and this younger generation is more open to collaborating and doing things as a team, I want to say, than our, because we're kind of in-betweeners, than like our parents' generation, you know? So, yeah, I'm excited that I think technology and the natural flow of the evolution of us as people is just leading in that direction.
I've been saying that for years.
Well, you know, with you saying that, you interviewed Larry, what was his name? Larry Fritz?
Oh, yeah, Larry, yeah.
And he's doing something with 3 other people. None of them, one is in Germany, one is what, in Switzerland, and one some,
and the technology makes it possible.
They all.
Let me tell you what, I'm making music with people that don't live in this town because you can send me a WAV file and I can drop it in, you know, things like Dropbox and having storage spaces in the sky. You really can do songs with people all over. I just worked with somebody just dropped a verse on one of my tracks from Romania.
Wow.
You know, so
you said something that y'all might miss it a little bit, but when I was growing up, the people that I listened to and aspired to be like were a full head age older than us. You guys are more likely to have your contemporaries playing for you, and so it's easier for most to drop the mask and not compromise yourself. In my era, we had to play what was popular. We were forced to play. If you didn't play what they wanted in the club, you didn't get heard.
Well, there are more outlets as an independent artist. Absolutely.
That's what I mean.
Now there is a
renaissance happening.
Yes.
It's easier to drop the mask when you know that. Oh, well, I'm gonna put it out there, and some people are gonna listen to it. Some people, but in nightclub.
Well, there's other outlets now besides a nightclub, which is nice. You know, like at the end of the day, there are more outlets, and if you have a little bit of strategy, can navigate and make a plan and a niche for yourself. Because at the end of the day, there is something for everybody. You know, and so what you were saying earlier about whatever trick you do or whatever, there is a market for what you do, and if you own what you do, you know, and don't try to be something else, because I mean, I don't claim to be anything but me. You know, I don't even want to be anything but me. I'm happy with where I'm at. It's not to say that I don't want to improve or grow as a musician. That's going to be a never-ending journey for the rest of my life and beyond. It's my favorite language and way of communication. I think it's a cleaner way to communicate than verbal language. Music is. You know, but I'm proud of what I do, and I'm happy with the songs that I make.
Well, speaking of all of this technology and stuff, this is going to be on Facebook.
Nice segue.
Yeah. Beautiful. And it's going to be on YouTube, and it's going to be on DetroitBassPlayers.com is going to be on there. And if somebody, just say somebody just crawled up from under a rock right now, and this the first thing they see was this interview here. Where could they go see more of Emily? You got a website, you got a Facebook, you got. I know she has a website.
Yes.
So I was wondering if you had one too.
I'm in the process of building my own personal website, but I am out there in all kinds of ways, whether that be Twitter, Facebook, Skype, YouTube, email. It's Emily on Bass. EMILYONBASS. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook.
So it's the same on all of them.
Yeah.
My Twitter is Big Ive on Bass.
All right.
So
Lady Bass.
so we can catch you at all of them spots. You say you got a YouTube as well.
I do have a YouTube. So you can catch the bands that I have. You know.
Is it Emily on Bass YouTube?
Yep.
And some of the videos we can see that you playing with are like, what's the bands you play with?
I have a band called Rib that I put together. There's videos from Lola Valley.
Wait, hold up. Who is that again?
Anyone from Rib, Lola Valley, Yin, One Below. I want to say that Not for Sal, Paul, Andrew, Ulysses Lamb. There's lots of Emily on Bass.
And we can catch it all.
Incarnations.
You can catch them all on YouTube and stuff like that. Okay, that's pretty cool. Now, and you say you just did an album and stuff. You know she did an album.
Oh yeah, come on now.
I didn't know that.
I haven't released it yet.
It's like a debut album. Or
it is my. You know, I have been putting bands together now for as long as I've been playing an instrument. That is one of my main gifts. Is I for whatever reason I'm a magnet, and I just find people, and so I've put together a ton of bands.
Any recordings?
And she's
Absolutely.
traveled around the world.
Absolutely.
She hasn't told you that.
Yeah, I've been a couple places. I've been to go a couple places.
As a musician?
Yes.
So who do you play with, and give me some of these groups that you tour with, and
Well, one of the first tours I went with was with Mike Banks and Underground Resistance. I went overseas with that's Pope's Peeps. Pope's Peeps.
Is that the Mike Banks you was talking about?
That's the one I'm leaving in May to go with. In fact, we heading back.
To the Metamorphosis Festival?
Yep. We
That was one
go
of the
May 10th.
funnest adventures I've had.
Yeah, that was the one you talking about. Y'all do
In fact,
that.
I sent you, I think I sent you some
video
YouTube
footage?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some of that on Emily on Bit.
Yeah,
I think I got a clip up there from that.
I'm going to pull it up and put it on there.
Yeah, we went to Japan. That was a very fun experience, and then I was blessed to tour Europe with a blues rock player named Paul Andrew Ulysses Lamb. His name spells his name. His name is an acronym for his name.
Yeah.
And he asked me to put an all-female band together to tour Europe with, and so I did that twice.
What's their name again?
Paul Andrew Ulysses Lamb.
Oh.
Okay.
Paul. The name of the band is called Paul, P-A-U-L.
Oh, okay.
And that was my crash course lesson in blues, for real.
Any recordings out there we can
Yes, he has many. I don't know, I didn't actually record in the studio with him, but he has quite a few recordings out there. There are some YouTube videos, there is some footage on YouTube with us playing with Paul. But recording-wise, I have a band called Rib. We released an album called For Your Pleasure. I have some recordings with Lola Valley. Yin is one of my other bands.
I remember your Lola Valley.
Yin toured with One Below, who is a hip-hop artist, amazing hip-hop artist from Detroit, and we toured the West Coast last year, or 2 summers ago. And then, so now I have a project called the ER, which is a representation of the new phase that I'm going in, which is stepping out more on my own. And the album that I just finished is, I collected all of my favorite artists. I wrote some songs and had, if I wrote the lyrics and wasn't the right person for the singing, I got somebody in to sing. It features people like Monica Blair. I got Pate Jassi on vocals because he's one of my favorite singers in Detroit. I got Brent from The Strange. This dude Boopy from, he actually lives in Romania. So I'm really excited about it. It's a really interesting and eclectic collection of Detroit's finest. And I'm hoping to have that ready by this summer to come out. Okay,
well, we hopefully you'll have your own website out by there so we can keep posted, or we keep...
Absolutely. It would be called the ER, the Entertainment Realm.
Okay.
It's a realm in my head.
And and of course, we ain't want to keep you all day. We got other bass players that might want to ask you a question or two. Anybody got any questions for this fine bassist here?
What's up?
I used to play with Gabe in the band with Gabe, and Gabe is just a phenomenal drummer. And he was teaching you drums, right? You saying?
He would come over and not only he would teach me a couple of things on drums, but really he would come over and let me try out my riffs.
Oh, okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? With a drummer. Right. Yeah. So I'd write these interesting, it does make a big difference, and it was great to hear it with. Gabe actually went with me. He was the drummer I took when we went to Japan. So he was,
Oh, I think you told me about that.
Yep, I was asked to put a band together for that trip, and Gabe was the drummer.
Yeah, he's my son's a drummer, and he comes over and shows my son stuff from time to time. So of course when he comes there,
what's your son's name?
Miles Spencer. And I'll go. He said, "Don't grab your bass." So we'll groove, and he's showing Miles, "Well, see, when your dad does this, I'm gonna do this." And Gabe is such a phenomenal drummer. When he was playing Enemy Squad, we would play from like, the super funkadelic stuff, and then we'd go into some ska stuff, and then we'd go into some speed metal stuff. And we would do this without a scene, just straight through it.
Absolutely.
And so we started doing Brothers on the Planet. We just kept that format, even though Gabe wasn't in that particular band, but we kept that format. And Gabe he fired me from the Enemy Squad because he fired me from the Enemy Squad because we were playing, P-Funk stuff. And I've been playing it a lot longer than Gabe was playing it. So I got kind of fed up, like, man, you know, Billy bass. I love Billy bass, but I've been doing it for years. So of course, henceforth, guys, listen, all the Randy Jackson, Victor Wooten stuff don't work in funk. So
It does not.
I started doing that stuff, and then I found myself without a gig. So
It does not. Actually, I have a crazy story. I went to see, one more story and I'll be done. I went to see Steve Vai. Was it Steve Vai? Steve Vai. And I was probably one of 3 girls in the audience. No, for real though. And I forget who the bass player was, but you know, everybody's solo and okay. Now he is a please, maybe I shouldn't tell this story.
No, please, no.
Okay.
Yeah, we told it before
It's
too.
the right.
Okay, so he's an incredible bass player, and so he gets his solo, right? And he's doing it, and he's wanking.
Yeah, that's
And it was, at first I'm like, man, this dude's sweet. And I kept waiting for him to just drop a fat, stinky groove out of it. It never had. I was actually disappointed because if he'd have come out of that
And went into something?
or something like that, I would have,
You know, we call it bass diarrhea.
It was very fascinating.
Or musical gymnastics.
And it was absolutely incredible. I just think that final touch coming out of it would have just made it so powerful from a bass perspective. Yeah.
But yeah, the dude's bad, but
bad.
Yeah.
Bad is
but we are the bottom, so keep the booty in it.
Right, and I honestly have gotten gigs, I think, due to my lack of being such a flashy player. I have gotten some gigs because people know I'm going to just sit in the cut. And yes, and do exactly, you know, I'm going to sit in the cut.
You're going to hold the groove.
Well, you play with Gabe, you're going to sit in the cut.
Absolutely, I like it too. I know my role. I like it.
That's all money's at.
Okay.
My face only go this far.
Right. All money's at.
Okay, so is there NT, and I said that right, NT? Is there NT advice that you might give to one wanting to play a bass guitar, whether they be 5 or 6 years old or 50 or 60 years old? Any advice for somebody wanting to come into our world?
You know,
of bassness?
I don't know if I have, because each road is different. I think my advice would just be more to anyone's creative spirit. Do you, and don't be afraid to fall down, make mistakes, whatever that means, because there's some beautiful things that happen out of mistakes. And just let yourself go and enjoy your own creativity. Don't make it such a brutal experience for yourself. Like, I gotta be this, I gotta be that. I mean, it should be fun at the end of the day.
Okay, and is there anything else you'd like to say before you play us out?
Thank you so much. DetroitBassPlayers.com.
All right, so just let us have a little bit of your leaf. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Emily Roger.